Hey everybody, and welcome to Age's Cozy Crochet video, where today we are doing turtleneck ponchos with reverse kangaroo pockets. I know, reverse kangaroo pockets, right? So a reverse kangaroo pocket is simply the pocket, instead of being on the outside, it's in the inside. Because we all know I love pockets. If you watch me, if you don't watch me, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, okay? So you know when I post some videos. But I like pockets here. But I don't always like to tell people I like pockets, okay? So sometimes I just want a secret pocket. What better way to show you that I like to put secret pockets in than showing you how I put secret pockets in? And if you look, it's just like the pocket you would have on the outside. It's just inside. So we're going to get right to the table. We're going to be working with a medium 4 yarn, and grab whatever colors you like, and let's get to crocheting. Okay everybody, so we're at the table right now, and I want to take a look at and show you the colors that I'll be using for this particular piece. So I have red heart, and this is coffee. I'm using this one, Craftsman Value tweed, and this is gray tweed, and I'm using some cream from Karen 1 Pound. Now this color is like a burgundy color. As you see, I just have a little ball of it, so I'm not going to be using much of it. So this is perfect. This is like a burgundy color, and I believe this is red heart as well. Now this is all medium 4 yarn, so that's what I'm using for this project. And I'm using a 5mm hook for this project. Other than that, you're going to need scissors, and you're also going to need a yarn needle, a darning needle, in order to weave in your ends at the end of it. Okay, so I'm going to move all of this out the way. Now this project works in multiples of 6, so if you want to make this bigger or you want to make it smaller around the neckline, then you would just have to work in multiples of 6. Now I'm going to start this off with a chain of 78. Now 78 will work for all the sizes that you've seen in the beginning, from small, even teen, all the way up to extra large and beyond. Now if you want more space, then you're just going to have to chain in multiples of 3 more or less than what I'm doing. So again, we're starting with the chain of 78. 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78. So I have my 78 here. Now I just want to make sure that there are no twists in my chain. And then I will be connecting into the first chain that we made. So I'm going to go in there, grab my yarn, and slip stitch. Alright, next we want to chain up 1. Once we chain up 1, we're going to go right into that first stitch, right where we slip stitched into, and we're going to go in and make a single crochet. We're going to go all the way around this whole chain, making single crochets until we get back to the beginning. So we started with a chain of 78. We should have 78 single crochets all the way around. Now when you are making your single crochets, you want to go through 2 loops. Okay, you want to go through 2 loops and leaving 1 behind. This little one is where we're going to come back and attach our neck all the way around. So when you're going through the chain, make sure you're going through 2 loops. Okay, so you see you have 1 loop at the top. Okay, so you want to go underneath 2 loops, 1, 2, grab your yarn and come up. leaving one loop behind, and again we'll be using that to go over to work our neck. We'll be using that to go over to work our little turtleneck over. Alright, so go all the way around and make sure you have 78. And if you have changed another number, you want to make sure you still have that multiple of 6. Okay, so I've come to my last one. I have my 78. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that we created. Grab my yarn, pull it through, and then pull it through again. Now we're going to begin where our clusters begin. Now how we start here is going to be how we start for the rest of the piece, a new row. Alright, so we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, so chain 4, yarn over, and right where we slip stitched in to, right where that chain's coming from, we're going to go right in there, and we're going to place 2 more double crochets. 1 and 2, all in the same spot. Now that chain 4 is going to count as a double crochet. Alright. On the next row, I'll explain to you more why I'm doing a chain 4. Because usually we do a chain 3 to represent a double crochet, but there's a reason why I'm making a chain 4, and I'll explain that better on the next row. Now this first cluster, 3 double crochets is a cluster. So this first cluster is going to become our point. Now we're going to finish this point off when we come back around here. Now we're going to have 2 points, 1 point here and 1 point on the opposite side. Okay, so this is going to be our first one. We'll finish it when we come back around. Okay, so now what we want to do is yarn over. We're going to skip 2 single crochets, and into the third single crochet we're going to make a cluster again. So we're going to put 3 double crochets into the third single crochet. And again we're going to skip 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and into the third one we're going to place another cluster of 3 double crochets. Again we're going to skip 2 single crochets, and into the third one we're going to put another cluster. Okay, now excluding this one right here, which is a point, we're going to have 12 of the clusters before we get to our next point. So we're not counting this one. This is a point. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 12 before we get to our next point. So go ahead and keep skipping 1, 2 single crochets, and into the next one placing a cluster of 3 double crochets until you have a total of 12 clusters of double crochets, excluding this one, because again this is a point, this does not count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So keep going until you have 12 of them. So I'm doing my 12th one now. let's look at it again, not counting the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So now I'm at a point, and as you can see, I'm exactly across from where I began. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2 single crochets, and into the third one we're going to place another cluster. Now all of our points will work exactly like this point does. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to go right back into the space where we have this cluster, and we're going to put another one. So 3 more double crochets. And that is our point. Every time we come back to this point on rows to come, we'll always go inside this point and do exactly what we just done here. 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. So now we have to repeat what we've done on this side, So all we're going to do is skip 2 single crochets, and into the third one we're going to make a cluster. Again, skip 2 single crochets, and into the third one make another cluster. Now we had 12 clusters on this side of our point. We will have 12 here as well. So we're going to keep going until we get back to our next point where we begin, and we'll finish that point off. Okay, so I've come all the way back around to the beginning. I finished my 12 clusters on this side. I have 2 single crochets, and then I pretty much have where I started from. Okay, so I'm going to skip the 2 single crochets, and I'm going to go where I started from, right where this one is coming from. So we're going to go in there, and we're going to make another cluster. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 4 that we began with, which is right here. Grab our yarn, pull it through there, and pull it through here. And this is our beginning. Now if you are making a different size, then obviously you're going to have different amounts of clusters in between your points, but this is the basic right here. So we have a point here and a point here. This point where we start and stop, this is what I always consider the back. So this will be my back, and this will be my front. When we get to a point, we will always go inside that point and create another point. 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Everything else is just going to be working in between the clusters, making more clusters. That is the whole entire piece. I will do another row so we can look at it together, but that is basically it. So to begin, again, we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the reason why I like to chain 4 at the beginning is because we're going to yarn over, and we're actually going back inside this space on our point to create the other 2 double crochets. And when we do that, we are working over some of that chain 4. So that is why I put a chain 4. Leave 1 chain for us to kind of double back and work over, and as you see, it all fits to the perfect height instead of having this one being slightly shorter than the others. Okay, and now that we started our point, we'll finish our point when we come back around, and we're just going to go in between each of our clusters and make more clusters. So I'm going to go in between each one of these all the way around until I get to the next point, and we'll go over the points again. Okay, so I've gotten to the point on the opposite side. So now we're going to go in that point, and we're going to make our cluster of 3. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go right back into that point, and we're going to make another cluster of 3. Thus keeping the point. Now we're going to keep going and place our clusters on this side in between our previous clusters. And I'll meet you back at the beginning when we get to work the other half of our back point. Finishing up on my cluster right before my point, and now I'm back at my point, and of course I'm going to go inside this point and put another cluster to end off my row. Okay, chain 1, and now we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 4 we began with. Now I want to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how we begin each row. And we're going to go right into our point and make 2 more double crochets. So I'm going to keep going around. We're going to keep our points in the exact same way we have. When you get to a point, it's very noticeable that you're at a point because everything else is already flowing exactly like that. So you're just going to go in and repeat what you did here. And this row that we just completed is going to repeat for the entire piece. Okay, so I like to make this about 42 rows. It all depends on how long you want it, but my average size is about 42 rows. So I'm going to go down 42 rows with this, but I want to show you guys how to change colors. So I'm going to work it until I get to my next color change. Then I will show you guys how to end off and bring in a new color. So I'm just finishing up my 9th row. I have went down far enough for me to want to go ahead and start my next color. So I want to show you how I'm doing my color change. Okay, so when I get to where I want to change my color, you just want to cut off your yarn, and we're just going to pull it right through, and then pull down. All right, so that is how we're going to stop it, even when we get to the bottom of our piece. And I'm going to bring in this little burgundy reddish color, and I'm just going to add it on. Okay, so I'm going to add it on right where my corner is. Okay, so this is the back part, and I'm just going to go right there into the point and add my yarn on with a single crochet. Okay, Now I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, just as I would starting out. Yarn over, and I'm going right back in and placing my 2 double crochets to complete this cluster of 3. And that's it. Whenever I'm changing colors, I'm just going to cut off the last color, chain 1, pull through, and add on my next color, and go ahead and start as if we have been for the whole entire piece thus far. And then I'm going to just keep going on, making my clusters. To the next one. Now I'm only going to put on about 1 row of this color here, and then I'll probably put on 1 row of this color a little bit later on. So I'm going to go ahead and work this color all the way around, and of course I'll show you how to end it and cut it off again. And like I said, we keep everything in the back, so when it's time to weave in, all of this will be weaved in on the back. So I'm going to go around the whole piece, and I'll meet you guys back to complete the first point we made. So I'm going to go all the way around my piece, and I'll meet you guys back where we started so we can finish off that point together. We're not shaking. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of this row. I've already chained 1. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the fourth chain from where we started. And I'm going to cut this yarn because I'm done with this color. Like I said, I'll bring this color in later on down the line. And I just want to grab my yarn and pull it through and pull that tight. And that is done. Now, let's just take a peek at what it looks like. This is right here, 10 rows. Okay, so yeah, this is the point where I would go ahead and put my turtleneck on. Now, the reason why I want to do it now is because I have to twist and turn, and it's easier to do it now when you don't have all this whole bulky piece to work with while doing this. Now, this is 10 rows. I have 32 more rows to go. So again, perfect timing to go ahead and put the collar all around. So we're going to grab the color that we want, and I'm going to keep with the gray and keep the gray on the top. Now this is the front of our piece. Remember, the front of our piece is the piece that we continue to go around. The back of our piece is where we are putting all our strings. Okay, so I'm turned it to the back side, but I also want to work from the inside. So I'm going to open this up and turn it on the wrong side and face it with the back facing you. So now my piece is on the wrong side and my back is facing me. And right here or around here, anywhere you like, this is where we want to start. So I'm going to start right here at the joint area. I'm going to move this aside, and I'm going to go up under there. Now remember, in the beginning I told you to leave 1 loop. So we should all have that 1 loop all the way around. Alright. Now again, I'm starting here where my joint area is. I'm going to grab the color that I want for this, which is my gray, and add that on with a single crochet. Now that I have that on, I want to chain up 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So we're not going to be going into the first chain from our hook. You see that? We're not going into the first one. We're going to skip that one. We're going to go into the next one, and we're going to be making single crochets. So we're going to go all the way down, and we should have 20 single crochets by the time we get to the bottom. If you decide you want more neck or less, especially if you're making like a smaller size, you may do less, but you want to make sure you go chain one more than what it is you need, because we skip that first chain. Okay, so I've gone down my 20 single crochets. Now you can see where we just came from. Okay, where we chained up from is right here. The next stitch we want to slip stitch to. Okay, and the next stitch after that we want to go in there and slip stitch in there as well. So we've gone 2 stitches over by slip stitching. Slightly turn our work, because now we want to come back up this, and when we go up, we are going to be going through both loops, and we're going to go up our 20 single crochets. So the 2 slip stitches we make, we never work in that area. We always just travel up and down these 20 stitches. So going up, we're going through both loops, making our single crochets. Now when we get to the end, we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to work back down our 20. But when we work back down our 20, we want to work in the back loops only. Okay, so if you have your piece and you hold it facing you like this, so where you're looking at the top of it, you will see you have a front loop and a back loop. We're going just through the back loop. So we're going to go down our 20 single crochets just through the back loop, making 20 more single crochets. So when we go down, we work in the back loop. And my last one right here, back loop. Okay, so holding it this way, you can see this right here is where we already went into and we worked up. So now we're going to go into the next unworked stitch and slip stitch there. And then we're going to go into the following one and slip stitch there. So you always slip stitch in the next two stitches, starting with the first unworked one. And now we're going back up, and when we go up, we work in both loops. So again, skipping the 2 single crochets, again skipping the 2 slip stitches, we're going to start in our first single crochet, working in both loops. We're going to go back up to the top. So this is very repetitive, and we're going to do this all the way around the top of this piece. The only things to remember as you keep going is that when you work up, you're working in both loops for the 20 stitches. Chain 1 once you get to the top, and now we're going to work back down. And when you're working down, you work in the back loop only and make your single crochets. So going up, both loops, going down, back loop only. Every row is going to keep with 20 single crochet in it. So until you get adjusted and you know you're not going to work in those 2 slip stitches, you can count going up and you can count coming back down. It should always be 20 single crochet. And this is my last one. Now remember, as you see, this stitch right here is worked in. Okay, so we want to move to the first not worked in one. So it's right next to that, and we're going to slip stitch once, and then we're going to go to the following one, and we're going to slip stitch again. Trying our work slightly so we can go back up. We're going to skip the 2 slip stitches, and we're going to start with the first single crochet, and we're going to single crochet all the way up our 20 stitches. So again, we're going to do this all the way till we come to the, we started here, so we're going to do that all the way till we come back to the beginning. Okay, when I come back around here, I'm going to come back in so you can see exactly how and where to end off at, and then we'll close this up. And this is just going to repeat all the way around. And when you get to the end, or the top I should say, don't forget to chain 1. That's going to keep your edges nice and crisp, and go right back into that first stitch, back loop only, going down. Now I want to show you this so you understand how it should look. We're on the wrong side of our piece, and remember, the wrong side of your piece should look like this. we're creating nice little ridge as we come down. Now the other side of your piece is going to look like this. No ridges at all. Back side of the piece, ridges. So when we fold this over on the right side, we'll have our ridges, okay? So keep working this all the way around. And again, I'll meet you back here. Just go all the way around right into the tops of your work. And this is why it was important to go through 2 loops, so we have that one there. So you should have no problem going all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end. Alright, so I'm almost finished. I've gone all the way around. So now I'm back here. And you see I don't have much. There's actually only 2 stitches left that I can work in. So I'm going to slip stitch into my next stitch and the one after that. So I have my 2 slip stitches. I've stopped right before where I begin. So I'm going to go up one more time, come back down, and then we will be slip stitching into that final piece. Alright, so now that I've gone up and come back down, I am left only with slip stitching into where we first began, and then I want to chain 1. Alright, so basically you just want to keep working this neckline until you could just slip stitch into where you began, because you don't want to have a gap pulling, and that's basically it. So once we've chained 1, this is what's going to be on the outside of our turtleneck, okay? So we do not want to close it off on this side. We want to close it off on this side, all right? So to make that easier in demonstrating, so you can see it really, really clear, we're going to turn this on the right side, all right? So I've turned it inside out, but back on the right side. So it'll be folded down like that. So we're on the side that looks like this. So once I've turned it on the right side, I'm going to go ahead and pass my yarn through too. So my yarn's on this side as well to make it easy. So now that we turned it around, we've already chained our 1. So we're just going to close this. We should have 20 single crochet on one side and 20 on the other side. So I want to go through the first one here and the first one on the other side. And we're just going to be making single crochets, joining these together. So I'm going in a single crochet on this side and the exact opposite single crochet on the other side. And even though this is, remember, the outside of our work, we will not see this one because this collar will be turned down. And the last one here, the last one here, grab my yarn and make my single crochet and then cut my yarn off, which weave in later. Grab it and pull it through. So now looking at this, let's go ahead and pull this down. Just going to fold it in half. And there is your collar. Okay, nice little turtleneck, not too snug. So now I just have to put my 32 rows on. I will be changing colors throughout. I've already showed you with the burgundy how to add on a new color when you're switching out colors. So I'm going to work the cream, the brown back to this color, and finish it off with the rest of the gray. So I'm going to put 32 more rows on here for a total of 42 rows, and we'll have our poncho part made, and I'll come back in and show you guys how to make the pocket. Okay, so I have made my 42 rows. This goes all the way down to the 42 rows. Now to end it, you can do a row of single crochet like I did. So I did my 42 rows, and then I just went around it and just made single crochets. When I got to the point, I did 2 single crochets, chain 1, 2 single crochets, and single crocheted all the way out, just to give it a nicer edging. And this is done. So, and you see how the colors came in. So I did 1 row of the burgundy, 3 of the cream, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows in the brown. Went back to the cream for 3 rows and 1 row of the burgundy again. So our neck is all done. We just have to weave in these ends. But, well, if we want to do the reverse kangaroo pocket, I'm going to show you how to make the pocket. So I'm going to chain up 39. 1, 2, 3. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. So now that I have my chain of 39, I do not want to go in the first chain from the hook, but into the second. So not the first, but the second. And we're going to do single crochets down this whole first row. So we should have 38 single crochets at the end of this row. Okay, so row 1 is just single crochets. In total, our pocket will be 14 rows. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 at the end of every row, turn our work, and for the next 4 rows we'll just be doing half doubles in every stitch. So into the first one, I'm going to go in and make a half double, and the second one, go in and make a half double. Okay, so we'll be doing our half doubles for our second, third, and fourth rows. So complete all rows with half doubles in each row, not forgetting when you get to the end of the row to chain 1 and turn your work. So I just finished my 5th row, and now on to row 6. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Now row 6 all the way to row 14, we're going to be doing the same thing on every row, and our rows are going to start getting shorter. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to combine the first and the second stitch on every row, and we're going to combine the last and the next to the last stitch on every row. So how do you do that is we're going to yarn over. We're going to go into the first stitch, grab our yarn and pull up. And then we're going to go inside the second stitch, grab our yarn, pull up. We should have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and take off all 4 loops. And then we're just going to continue making our half doubles until we get to the 2 last stitches. Okay, so I am at the last 2 stitches. So I'm going to yarn over, go into the next to the last one, grab my yarn and pull up. I'm going to go into the last stitch, grab my yarn and pull up. I have 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and take all 4 off. Okay, when we get to the end of our row, we will chain 1 as we've been doing and turn our work. Now we're going to begin right away decreasing, so I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into my first stitch, grab my yarn and pull up, and into my second stitch, grab my yarn, pull up, 4 loops on the hook. I'm going to take off all 4, and then I'm going to just make my half doubles until I get to the last 2 stitches again. Okay, so I'm back to my last 2 stitches, yarn over. I'm going to go inside the next to the last one and pull up, and then I'm going to go into the last one, grab my yarn and pull up, 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and take them all off, chain 1, and turn my work. And again, we'll do the same thing. We're going to go into our first stitch, grab our yarn, pull up, go into our second stitch, grab our yarn, pull up, 4 loops on our hook. We're going to take off all of them and keep making our half double crochets until we get to our last 2 stitches, and we'll decrease again. So as you see, it's going to start coming in. We want to continue doing this until we have 14 rows total. Once we have 14 rows total, I'll come back in and show you the next step. Okay, so I just finished my 14th row, and this is what your piece should look like, having decreased on the front and the back end of your work. So now we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. And we're going to put 1 single crochet all the way across in every stitch. And this is our 15th row. So every stitch is going to get 1 single crochet. And when we're done, we're going to cut off our yarn, grab it, and pull it through. And this is our finished pocket. Now I'm going to bring my piece back in. I am not going to actually sew the pocket down for you guys on camera, but I'm going to bring my piece back in so I can show you kind of where to lay it and tell you what I'm using to sew mine down. Now remember, this is the back of our piece, so this is the front of our piece. I'm actually going to turn it around so I can lift it up and have the front piece on to the table nice and flat. Now you can use pins and to place this down. You are going to choose where you want to place yours and the inside. Okay, I am going to go about right here. So when I'm placing it, as you can see from right here, there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows before I get to the edge here. And 1, 2, 3, 4 4 rows before I get to the edge here. So I have 4 rows here, 4 rows here. You may decide you want to go up a little bit higher. This part is all up to you where you feel more comfortable placing it inside of your piece. The only place we're sewing down is the row of single crochet we just put on the top. This will get sewn down from this end to this end, and the row of single crochets at the bottom from this end all the way to this end. So the very bottom is going to get sewn down. Now, other than that, the 4 rows that we do have going straight here, okay, the 4 rows that are going straight, they too are getting sewn down. So that's here and here. They will get sewn down as well. So there is a couple ways you can do this. You can have my little pack. So you can use your yarn needle, which is your darning needle that is big enough for your yarn to pass through it. You can use that with the color yarn that you choose to tack this down, but I am not doing that. I will be using thread, sewing thread, and a regular sewing needle in order to tack mine down. And this is why I'm really not going to show it, because this is thin and you're probably not going to see it good, okay? Because I can't see it looking at it, so I know you wouldn't be able to see it very well. So I'm going to use this, and the only reason why I'm going to use my thread is because when I go through, I do not want to go through to where I come out on the opposite side. I don't want you to see any of my stitches pulling on my piece. So you won't know where my pocket is in the front, because you won't see that outline that looked like it just got stitched. And this is not exactly where I'm placing it. So when I use my needle, I am only puncturing enough so I am through it, and you see that right there, through it here, but I'm not through it here. And you see, you don't see the needle, but you see the needle on the side, if you kind of can. So that is what I mean by that. It does not matter if that doesn't, if you don't care, then go ahead and use either one that you want. Tack it down how you want, but these are the places where you're tacking it down. And remember, if you're using yarn and you have placed a design like I did, when you're working in that area, you just want to think about what color you want to use in case it catches through on the other side and possibly would show on your other side. Okay, so that is the end of the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you choose to put your pockets like me with the reverse kangaroo, or if you decide to put your pockets on the outside, or if you decide to go with no pockets at all, I would love to see your work. So until next time, you guys, I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I will see you next time on the corner. Okay, all right, everybody, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed learning about my secret pockets. I hope you guys install some secret pockets of your own. And until next time, remember, again, like button, subscribe button, hit the bell, and I will see you guys on the next Cozy Crochet Corner. All kinds of tongue